Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Introduction to Confluence webinar. My name is Tony Hartsfield. I am a certified Atlassian professional and a consultant with Valiantys. Valiantys is a Platinum Solutions partner for Atlassian. We're going to be spending the next hour or so taking a relatively deep dive into the world of Confluence. I want to start with just simply some of the basics tools that are available to you. And then we'll show you how you can leverage Confluence's capabilities with your teams and within your organization itself. So our time together today, first off, we'll just introduce what Confluence is itself, take a quick look through the editing capabilities of it, show you what the um, customizing reporting options could be for you, a couple different examples, one IT, one non-IT. How it can be used as a content portal itself, where your people can come and collect information about their projects, about their departments, about the organization itself. Um, Over the last year, there have been some new content types that have been added to Confluence as well, and so I want to briefly touch on a couple of those. In fact, I'm going to be showing you a lot of stuff in a short amount of time, so just strap in and hang on with me. And then lastly, because of its functionality and its extensibility, we might want to briefly touch on the topic of governance of your Confluence data as well. And then we'll finish with hopefully some time left over to answer any questions that you might have. There is a Q&A module as part of this web meeting. And if you have questions, really anytime throughout the presentation, if you want to add them to the Q&A section, and then I'll attend to those at the end of our session. So let's start with first off, what is Confluence? Um, Confluence is a wiki-style editor tool that can serve as a documentation place for you, an information sharing portal of content, and it can also be a powerful reporting mechanism. We'll talk about reporting in Jira versus in Confluence a little bit later. And then for those of you that are using Jira Service Management in your projects for your help portal, um, Confluence is where your knowledge base articles can be stored. When the customers go to the portal and start to make a request based upon the keywords of the request, knowledge base articles can be suggested to allow them to potentially resolve the issue before making the request themselves. And just as an aside, your customers do not have to have a Jira license to be able to go to the help portal, and neither do they have to have a Confluence license to see the articles that are presented with that help portal. So great tools to help you seamlessly help out your customer base. One of the things that hopefully you'll see about Confluence in this time together is that there's lots of customization options and it's very flexible. And that allows you then, according to how your organization is structured, uh, efficiently use the tool to disseminate information about your organization. You know, without a tool like Confluence, before the question is, where do your people go to get information? Where's that form? Well, it's on the intranet page in the form section. Um, who do I contact about getting this permission? Well, we sent you an email with all the contact people 4 months ago. Have you referred to that? Or where is that particular policy? Well, it's over here in this SharePoint folder. And everything is in different locations. And the question is, where do they go? Well, what Confluence can do is that your people can come to a central location, and then what they need might be in the Confluence instance or linked to from the Confluence instance. That way, your people can go to one place to get all the information they need about their projects, their department, the company itself. So we're going to see lots of things there. Now, Confluence is made up of something called spaces. If you're familiar with Jira has projects, and then the projects are issues now about to be called work items. Um, uh, and Confluence setup is similar with spaces, and then they have content pages within those spaces. So the question is going to be, um, who could have a space in your Confluence instance? Now, obviously, your IT teams are probably going to have one because it's associated with the projects they're working on. Um, but it could be uh, the team itself, or it could be the team and all of their projects that they work on. Well, I'll show you some examples of some of those things. It could also be a department. It doesn't have to be IT. It could be accounting. It could be HR. It could be recruiting. It could be library. Any of those other groups. This could be their place for their content, their policies, their forms, their decisions, etc. And then when we start talking about governance, we strongly recommend that there be a governance space, which helps the rest of your organization understand how to use Confluence in a more meaningful and useful options. And then lastly is personal. By default, when you are a new user in a cloud instance, you automatically get a personal space. And that personal space could be used for collecting drafts before you place them into a space. If you're using the social aspects of Confluence, this is where personal blogs are located and for people can follow the content of individuals in your company. Um, and so lots of options as far as how that goes. So now that that's a little bit about what Confluence is, let's go into it and start first off, just simply talking about the basic editing options. Okay. So this, by the way, is a Confluence space. And in full disclosure, just to let you know, this is a Confluence Cloud premium license, which means it has some features that are not available on the standard license options. Things like calendars, analytics, although analytics is coming to standard in some form sometime in the near future. The addition of AI and lasting intelligence, which is, I'll try and highlight a couple of those things. Automation, which is a relatively new feature that is kind of interesting to think about with Confluence. You may be using automation in your Jira instance already. Well, it's available in Confluence as well. Something called database pages, and we'll take a look at all those things. So I just want to let you know about some of these features. Again, just remember this is a premium license. Also, if you already have a Confluence instance in your organization, you may notice that this interface is may not be where your interface is right now. Um, Starting in January, Atlassian started rolling out a new interface for Jira and for Confluence. Um, these items on the side were part of the menu options across the top bar, and they've now pasted them vertically. And so if you do not have this yet, it will be rolling out to your instance over the next several months. Um, and so everything is still there. It's just relocated into what they think is a more ergonomic location. So bear that in mind. So um, let's first talk about as a documentation tool, what can this do? Um, well, like any other wiki style editing tool, the 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 basic formatting of text is available to you. So you have things like headings, and the headings are also hyperlinked so that you could copy a link to not just the page, but to a location of the page if you wanted to send someone directly to that one point. It has the ability to format text, coloring, bold, italics. You have bulleted items. You also have numbered items. A lot of the basic things that you will see from there. Um, and then there's also a couple of layout options for your pages itself. So you not only have the text that can be formatted, but where the text can be located on your page. I'm actually going to open this up into edit mode for just a second and show you that this is what's called a one column layout or section. And then it breaks into what is a two column section here. And I'm using the right sidebar option over here. And so it's a great place for You could have text describing what's going on the left-hand side, and then either a smaller image, a graph. In this case, what I have is a table. Um, and they've got a pretty useful table tool. Before it was doing just a 3 by 3 table, and you could add as you needed to. But now you can draw a table as with as many rows and columns as you want, and it's a feature that most people tend to enjoy. Um, Also, with the table tool comes the ability to take the data from your table and convert it into a graph of some sort. In this case, so this is not a complicated table, but just simply people, number of requests, and then convert that into a either a bar chart or convert that into a pie chart. Uh, and you can do that. You can also import the data from an external source if you wanted to help you with that particular table. So layouts and tables. Um, Other features that are on the editing toolbar, things like action items, where you can create maybe you're in your meetings and you're then creating to-dos from the meeting itself. These action items then can be collected in a list. Um, if you mention somebody, that person gets notified and it's on their personal account that they have action items to do. You have the ability to set dates that these things can be performed by. So action items, and there are some macros now that you can convert action items into Jira issues, which is a relatively recent display. In fact, I've been talking about new things. I want to have my colleague Kristen, who's kind of running this thing in the background. There is um, Atlassian releases every Monday an update to the cloud environment for them, and this is a lengthy read. I will tell you. And the reason why I think you should subscribe to this blog is that um, things are changing so rapidly in the Atlassian cloud ecosphere. Almost every 2 weeks is something new, especially on the Jira side. But certainly every month there's something new showing up, like this whole UI that just rolled out. And so I may be referencing things that you haven't seen yet or haven't experienced yet. But that blog itself is a great update tool for what you're seeing there. Um, because this is in a shared location, and as long as the people that are viewing the page also have the rights to edit the page, uh, you can have what's called simultaneous editing, which is you probably experienced from other tools. But the notion is that multiple people could be editing the page at the same time. We do this sometimes when we're developing a new run book together for a project. We might just simply be in it together, working on it. Or several of my teams that one of my client engagements, um, when we have our weekly sync meeting with the client team, we'll have if there's two of us on the team, we'll both be in the meeting notes so that one can present the next action item or the next item of discussion, and the other one is taking notes on that. Or sometimes someone's taking notes, and the other person is taking down observations or action items from in there. So it's a great handy tool for having. And then when the people are done, we just simply click publish together, and it combines all of the edits into a single new version of the document. Um, you also have the ability to comment within the document. Let me show comments. Comments can be in two locations. One is at the bottom of the page itself. Let me navigate down there. So you can have comments here, and when you comment, you have access to the full editing toolbar that you had on the when editing a page itself. So you can really make visual, interesting comments for the discussion about the page itself. Or comments can also be what's called inline, or actually inside the text of the page itself. And in cloud, you can do this while in a published mode, or you can also comment while you're in editing mode, which is a great additional feature that they added, I believe, sometime last year, so that you don't have to publish just to see the comments. And you don't have to be in publish mode to resolve the issues or the comments. You can be in the edit mode, view the comments, and resolve them at the same time, which is a great tool. But it's just a matter of seeing the comments. To create new comments, you simply select text, hover over the selection, and then you have the ability to comment, or also just heads up, create a Jira issue. And then because this has Atlassian Intelligence turned on, which by the way is an option that your Confluence or your org administrator, not your Confluence administrator, your actual instance administrator, uh, if they have turned on AI for this for the applications, then you also have some of those features available as well. But then you simply create a new comment, respond to it, resolve, do the things that you need to do. So two locations for comments. Let me move into other um, editing tools that I think Confluence Cloud has really excelled in over the last couple of years, and that's linking. Um, they're able to take links and give you powerful options as to how you want to show them. Let me go back into edit mode again, just because I want you to see what it can do. By simply just there is a linking tool, but for the most part, just by pasting a link, um, you have the ability then to see not the link. So here's an internal one. So this is to another page on the in this instance. And you not only that, but and so here I just want to show you what it's doing. It's linking to this page from there. But you also have options as to how the link should appear on a page. There's just the URL. There's what's called the inline, which is what we're showing here. There's what's called the card view, which is what this is. And then lastly, you can actually embed an entire page onto this macro, uh, this or onto this page. So the contents live in another location, but can also be displayed in this location. That's using a macro called include page, but you don't even need the macro anymore. You just simply paste the link and then choose to embed it. You can comment on it. Um, you can unlink it in edit mode, make changes to it, copy it, and reuse it. So really like this ability. It also does it with external links. Here is an external link that, again, you have the ability to use the URL, the inline, the card. This is a link to a document that this is linked to a Google Docs environment. Um, uh, but you may have documents in other locations and you can, or even other types. Well, this could be a great way to draw people to those documents without necessarily attaching them to the Confluence space. If the living document lives somewhere else in a Google Drive, in a SharePoint folder, in a Teams channel, in a Dropbox folder, um, you wouldn't have to necessarily put a copy of it into your Confluence instance. If you simply put a link to it, as long as they have access to that location, that could be a great idea. Here is that same document though, embedded using the embed option, and depending upon if you have edit rights or not, you can also not only see it, but make edits to the document without having to navigate to the location of it. This is a great new feature that I think is very useful. And then there's other things, simply using simple HTML tools, you can create mail to links um, using the mail to preference on there from there. So those are other options as well. Um, if you opt to embed media files, uh, it automatically places it into a widget that will be able to allow you to play the media from the page itself. You don't have to um, You don't have to take them somewhere else. And so this is one of our YouTube videos, which I'm going to show you that channel in a little while. But maybe you've got other videos. Maybe you have a learning management system and you've got learning content videos that you want to embed into a Confluence page. Well, just simply having the link, as long as people have the rights to view it. Maybe you're using Microsoft Stream. You can also have links to those particular things, or you're recording your Zoom meetings or your saved meetings. Um, Putting the links in here, as long as it recognizes it as a media file of some sort, it will embed it into the page so that they can view it without having to leave. So just a great way of how they deal with um, links. Um, and before I get out of this edit mode, I want to reveal a couple things here. But naturally, you are going to still have the need for attachments to them. Attachments live at the page level of the space itself. Um, and when you need to, you can attach pages. You can do things like you can attach images. And with images, you have the option to not only uh, insert the image, but you also have the ability to have word wrap. You have a left or right word wrap that you can do. So here's the paragraph. Here's the image next to that. You also have the ability to change the size, convert it to pixels. You can add alternate text. So for those with visual needs, they can, if they're using screen readers, that alternate text will describe what the image is for them. Um, and then you can also attach other files, documents. This is specifically one called the PDF attachment macro, which when I get out of publish mode, you'll see it actually displays it um, almost like a scrollable uh, slide deck view so you can just scroll through the document from there. And then there's another macro called the attachments macro itself, which these documents aren't, the thumbnail isn't on the page, but they are attached to the page. And you can surface them using this little menu option here that people then have the ability to view, to download. And depending upon how you have had this macro set up, you could also enable people to upload additional attachments to using this particular macro if you wanted to have that. Let me get out of this page. So I've been using the word macro a few times. And so here's that PDF one, by the way, and how you can scroll through and see those things. Like I said, I've been using the word macro, and for some people that aren't uh, uh, that aren't familiar with coding or anything like that, that can be kind of an intimidating word. It's really not meant to be that way in Confluence. A macro is simply a tool, an added tool that allows you to do one of a couple of things. One, to format text or objects, or two, to help with navigation. And so we'll see a few of those. Um, and so some of these are some of our favorites that we like to work with. One of the fun ones is called the information panel, and there are these 5 built-in ones that are already there. Success, information, warning, note, error. They all come with their own color and an icon, and then you can add text to them. There are additional options in Cloud, though, that you could have your own emoji. You can also have a different color. There's a few other colors you can choose from. And as an option, you could potentially use this panel macro as a text background color, um, so that it's not just all white that's on there. So just some options that you can do with that. Another one's called the status macro. We use these on our status and our project updates to let people know where we are in the project. If it's on hold, if it's on time in progress, if it's done, approved, whatever, you can create these, and it's just simply a button. Actually, Atlassian calls them lozenges, where you type in the text and it places it in for you. One of our really favorite ones and handy is what's called the expand macro, where you put text in the macro, and then as you publish the page, you have the ability to collapse it. Well, on our customer engagement pages, we will put the statement of work in here oftentimes. Uh, and that way, whenever they need to be referred to it again, they can expand it to see it. Other things you can do with that, maybe you have several policies on a page. And in order to assist with vertical scrolling, you could put the policy title and then have them expand to see that. Or if there are procedures, maybe your QA team has 4 or 5 procedures that they do in order to QA a work item that's going through their Jira project. And here you could have the names of the 4 or 5 processes, and then if they need to know what the steps are, to simply expand them to see what else is going on. Um, for help with navigation, there is things like a table of contents, which is taking your headings and allowing you then to help people navigate throughout the page. A page tree, which can let people know what all is in this particular space itself, or you can also link to a page tree to another space and place that here as well. So there's lots of fun macros, useful macros, utilities that'll help you formatting your text. Again, if you have AI turned on with your instance, there's several macros as well as far as if you've used any of those writing assistance tools, like say Grammarly, there's that kind of functionality is built into Confluence as well with their AI macros. Um, so that's all the editing, and so far we really haven't talked much about Jira itself. But one of the things that makes this the more powerful is the fact that this is closely connected to your Jira projects. And there's now a couple ways to do this. One is, what if you publish an issue, um, just simply copy the issue link and then paste it in your page? Well, you have those same options that we had before. This is the card view. You can also have what's called the inline view, but I love this embed view where you're actually seeing the issue screen. And as long as you have the permissions in the project to do these things, this is actually editable. I can go in here and I can add. So this is a fully editable issue on a Confluence page. Awesome, the way they handle that. You can also um, select text, as I mentioned earlier, you can select text and create an issue. So it goes both directions. If you have a table, you can create multiple issues from there. So great interaction between those two things. What else can you do with Jira macros? Well, you can begin to surface content. So this is a JQL or uh, Jira query language search, and it's an issue search. And so you just simply paste the using the issues list macro, and it's actually showing me these things. Um, it is not as interactive as the option up here, but you can actually go to those links, go to those issues in the Jira by clicking on them. But I do see what the current status is, and any fields that you wanted to add are in the options of the macro itself. This is the exact same uh, issue list pasted as a pie chart. And so there's a couple of other chart options that you can use that's in there. So what does that mean? Well, this is an opportunity then to display the content, but then also give another visual option if it helps you in your reporting problems. So we're now seeing a lot of tools, a lot of editing, and some integration with Jira now. Let me show you what that kind of would look like in one of our examples. I'm going to take you to what would be a typical client engagement page that we have and give you an example of what all that functionality could look like for you. So again, we're just utilizing a lot of the same things. We're utilizing the layout. So this is a two-column layout. This is just simply a table. You see using the status button. This is a premium license option called calendars. And calendars, you can create a calendar in Confluence, or you can connect to an external one if you have the link to it. How we use it with for our client engagements is we'll put it there on the at the top of the engagement page, so that we can put major dates on there, so when releases might happen. We also will put team members' time off days, or when they're not going to be available. You can even include things like you can put links to things like sprints and releases from the projects can also be added to it. So a nice feature. Um, this is a link from what used to be called Atlassian Atlas, now as part of Atlassian Home, and you can see the project updates from there. So you can keep an eye on the those updates. Um, And so what you're seeing, and I'm going to continue talking about these things, but the point being, uh, you're seeing much more than just say the issue list. You're really even seeing more than a Jira dashboard that's on there. And what this allows you to do is to not only present the information, but with all this editable flexibility. Okay, you're able to not only show the content. By the way, this is a link to a a plan formerly called Advanced Roadmap. It's now called a plans list. Um, and here again, it's not editable, but I do have the ability to expand my epics, see the children issues. If I want to go and check on them, I can. And this is updating every time I open this page. So this is real time connected to that plan in the Jira instance. But then again, what we can do with this is we have the ability to not only present the information, but we also have the ability to talk about the information, to describe it, to manage the message, to allow not only the people that are consuming this to not only see it, but to understand how we want them to interpret it, or what to look for. Um, so here, this is again pretty typical. Would be three queries. One is what we've done in the last week, what's still in progress, and then what's still in the backlog that we have to up and work for. Um, and it's just three queries that are placed in there. We can also do, again, with this is just a table. And what we've done here is not only told them, here's show the information, what is this meaning? What are we talking about here? And so they can see what the issues are that meet this criteria. And then here's that reference here. And then the exact same macro in a pie chart. So they can see, so not only see the information, but also have a visual associated with it. And these are just ones that are using a particular label in the on the issue, and then the filter is looking at that particular label. Um, Here is that attachments macro again. So oftentimes what we can do, sometimes we'll have like a monthly meeting with the stakeholders. So we have our weekly sync meetings with the teams, but sometimes there needs to be a higher up presentation to them. And so what we can do at this is after the meeting, we'll take a snapshot of this entire page as a PDF and then attach that PDF. So if they need to see previous monthly reports, they have access to it. Because remember, every time you come to the Confluence page, it's updated automatically, which is again the uh, the the last cool feature of it. So it's not only connected to your Jira information, but it updates automatically every time you open it. And it's so easy to manage this stuff. So then the question becomes, well, should I report uh, in Jira, where is the single source of truth for work, or should I do it in Confluence? And here's our response to that. And that is more than likely your team, the actual team that's working in the Jira project, is probably going to stay in Jira. They're going to be looking at their boards, Sprint or Kanban. They're going to, and then they have their dashboard and they have their links to certain reports. And so likely they'll stay there. But where Confluence becomes a great tool is when you want to report to people that are not part of the team. So you need to report to the management level, to the PMO, the exec suite, et cetera. Uh, this becomes a great location for what you might call external reporting then. Um, because it's customizable, it's manageable, and you can make it easy to consume from those that are working through there. Okay. Um, so this is IT useful. Let me show you how another department might use a Confluence space similarly, but just to point out that this is not limited to your IT uses anymore. So let me take you to another space. And let me first start with so this is the marketing department. And the marketing department is made up of five different teams as they do the different work for the teams. And this is a similar page for Project Alpha, that particular team. And so they're utilizing uh, a lot of the same types of things. Um, they're using their calendar. This is a Jira issue. Um, all of these projects teams, though, by the way, have created a table, and in that table, they are able to do high-level updates on where they are. So this is just a table, and then they're using these uh, uh, status buttons in there, and then they've included one more option that's on here. And all of these projects have this type of table for their own team. Um, and I'll show you how that fits together in just a moment. But then again, just seeing similar things. Everybody needs to see what they're working on, what's being done. That's not limited to IT. That's any type of work product that's in there. Um, the project details, any references. So again, similar things, whatever they would need that's on there. Um, as that. Let me show you then how this information can be compiled as well. Um, this is called a page content uh, macro, and there's then a what's called a page report macro. So all of those other projects have a table set up just like this with title, overall status, resource status, those same headings, and then they put in there. And then what this overall report macro does is the other pages have they have the information on as a macro, and then they have the page labeled. Well, what this report macro does is say, in this space, look for all the pages that have this label and look for tables that are in this particular content macro, and then combine them so that the marketing office can look at all of them in a high level view of what's working on. So great little tool from there to see that. Um, Also, they're using advanced roadmaps too. This is five different projects, and so they can actually see at the whatever the different levels are, and just a matter of expanding if they need to. So I'll go into more, but I want to take a brief moment uh, since I've got you, is to talk about who we are as a company, Valiant, just to let you know that um, hopefully you've seen some functionality and you've seen some interest, and maybe this is talking about what how we might be able to have a relationship of any value in the near future from there. So first off, Valiantys, as I mentioned earlier, we're a platinum solution partner. We're a premier platinum solutions partner. We're the largest global partner around. We're the largest in North America. Um, and that is determined by what makes platinum is the number of Atlassian certified professionals on the that are our consultants. All of us pursue and maintain Atlassian certification, um, so that we can be aware of what the products that we're working with as we're working with you. So, what is that we can do? Well, we can do training like what you're seeing here, and uh, Kristen's going to put the link in the chat for you. Um, and so if this is your first introduction to Valiantys, this is one of our main outreaches, is that we offer a lot of content, and a lot of it is free, like these webinars. We have other engagement events that are hosted, and just designed to inform and to maybe begin conversations. Every Thursday at 11 a.m. is a webinar just like the one here, and it's on a number of topics that we have on a rotating scale, and those will happen there. You can click to view what's happening next, whether you want to see webinars, or we also offer a lot of paid training options. We have several boot camps that are available. Um, we have a 3-day deep dive, intensive dive into Jira administration. We have a 2-day JSM boot camp. We have a day-long Jira Atlassian governance boot camp. We have a couple of others that are. Let's see what else is coming up. Um, anyway, um, analytics is a new one. Forge for those that are needing to know a little bit more about coding. Um, Jira Align, which is if you are looking at scaled agile in your organization, this is designed for larger organizations that are agile, by the way. Um, we have a 1-day introduction to that to help you understand whether or not that's something you want to do, or if you decide then you would like assistance with helping to structure that and implement that, and even start to train your people how to use it. We do several clients that way. So anyway, the training. What else do we do? Well, we can assist you with your licensing of your Atlassian products. Um, because we are a platinum uh, partner, we have people that are dedicated, that's all they help people do. They help companies get their licenses for their Jira products, manage those licenses, maybe get the best user tier level that they need and not more. And if there are any discounts, we would have access to them. But one way is just to simply help you structure and organize that if you need to. Um, the other thing is that we do a lot of consulting. I mentioned that our engagement pages. People who have purchased Atlassian products now need to have it configured, implemented. Maybe they need to migrate content to it. Um, we have regular service agreements where where it's almost like someone is assigned to be um, a support person. We can do that as well. And then, um, attaching to third-party tools sometimes requires a little bit more effort than just telling it to connect. We have a team of full stack developers who can assist with uh, connecting the dots between your Atlassian products and your other products in your organization. We have, in fact, some of our stuff has been award-winning items from that we get recognized at the annual team meeting, the Atlassian team meeting, which is next week, by the way, in Las Vegas, and we consistently are winning like cloud um, cloud consultants, or again because of our team's development of making new tools. So anyway. Um, I think that's a lot of talk about Valiantys. So let me get back to the content. Um, so how else is this laid out? And I do want to also say, because I showed you functionality on the engagement page, but let me show you how we also might work that out. Because we have not only the project dashboard, we might have a page for the team members so that you can get to know who we are at Valiantys. We always have what's called a risk register so that we can place uh, known risks for, say, this migration that's coming up, etc. Here's where we might gather our meeting notes as well. We all meeting notes uses a template in Confluence, and so we don't format these things. Um, uh, Confluence does it for us. And so we have the meeting templates, and then any other documentation that we might be working on, if they're actually doing an agile playbook. So just to kind of give you an idea of how this might be organized by the pages from there. If I go back then to the marketing one, how did they have this organized? Well, they started with a team page. Again, this is also a Confluence template. It's not, we didn't develop this. It's I think it's called Meet the Team or something like that. And we just simply fill in the works from there. So links to whether these are internal or external links. And then this is just simply about the text. Again, these are just links with um, emojis added to them to do so. Um, Same thing here. The meeting notes are here. By the way, I mentioned the templates. There's 142 templates available in Confluence. That's just out of the box. You may have plugins that add additional ones, but that a lot the and it's way more than you're going to need. But there's probably some that you will like and want to utilize. And so I encourage you to explore the templates. Um, and then we can also connect to other resources. So for instance, this is linking to a Miro board, and I'm mentioning Miro board. We're huge fans of Miro, but I'm going to talk about how uh, Confluence has added whiteboards to their functions for both standard and for premium to do so. Um, you can also link to things like Trello board. Um, Trello, by the way, is a Kanban style uh, uh, issue board that you can do your pull tasks left to right. Um, Several of my colleagues manage their personal lives through Trello boards, so you can actually you can get a free one yourself by looking up Trello. But this is say they're getting ready to go to the trip next week, and so this is stuff that they had they're working on. And then they're also using the embed document options, either for display purposes or for even for editing purposes that you can have within there. Um, and so what you're seeing then is this is a great place for organizing, um, structuring your document, um, your spaces so that you can see all the things that are on there. Um, Let me talk about a couple of the additional content pages that are available that were added over the last year. They're in beta form early last year, and by June I think they became live. There is a page type now called a database. If I click on content options, you have a page, a whiteboard. This is a database. And I'll also talk about smart links too, but this is a database, and you can manage what fields you're looking for. This is just simply a database um, of a the marketing project that's in Jira. What I like about this is that it's similar to the issue filter list that we saw earlier, but you have the ability to apply some filters to do the sorting. Um, you can apply show me what's not done versus everything, and these are based upon JQL filters. Um, but then you can add new entries. You can create new issues from here. Again, you have to have the rights to view the project, but really nice stuff. The whiteboard option, and they've really, I think, have spent a lot of effort in trying to improve this as well, adding some additional functionality. There are multiple templates that you can work with, or you can start with a blank canvas. But for your brainstorming purposes, whatever type of whiteboarding you're using, this can now be done in Confluence instead of an outside external option. Um, and it can be a lot of the same functionality that you'll see in, say, Miro. Uh, these can be also linked to Jira issues, and so it can actually be directly connected to it. So a lot of that functionality for those of you that visualize your work in a whiteboard option, that's really cool. Um, Let me jump back, and I'm sorry to keep jumping back and forth, but there's one more thing I wanted to show you, is that if I go back to the introduction page, is that there's something called a smart link. So you've seen me linking inside of a page itself. A smart link is the entire content page is a link, and there are uh, dozens and dozens of types of items that you can link to in this. And so we're starting to experiment with this now. Instead of embedding a page with another page, we might just do a smart link and be able to do that. So um, just I wanted you to see those things, great tools that's in there. What else is available in a uh, premium instance is automation rules, and there are several automation rules that are on. Um, there's a blogs feature, which is for both standard and for premium. Um, and then with AI, what AI can do is do things like um, summarize the page, summarize changes, um, and then also help you with your writing of your content itself in the writing. So lots of great new features. I know I'm speaking fast. Um, so hopefully what you're seeing is that this is a really extensible tool with lots of features, lots of utilities. What that also means then is that this type of tool probably needs some type of proper governance in order to use it effectively. What we sometimes run into with some of our clients is they'll get a Confluence instance and then uh, uh, just let anybody do anything in it. And what you end up with is a disorganized mess that people with repetitive pages. How do they find stuff? And so what one of my colleagues will say is that if you don't use governance, all you have to do with the tool is amplify your dysfunction. And so we can assist with that. We offer one of our webinars is about governance, one of the free ones. In fact, I think one was just recorded last week. And when I show you the YouTube channel, you see. Um, but we think governance not only applies to your Atlassian tools, but really anything that your organization manages with data. Remember, data is the new gold, right? That there's really kind of two things to think about. And by the way, what the end result is it may not be the same in two different organizations, but the point is that the effort should be made. There's two thoughts. One is how to standardize on the content so that people have a similar experience when they go to the different spaces from there. And standardization is like things like naming conventions, um, uh, types of content, etc. And then the second thing is permissions. Not only, obviously, most of your organization is going to be able to see the content, maybe not for some, but then who gets to manage the content? And we would have that conversation with you to talk about how to manage the spider web that could happen uh, if you don't have some type of governance on there. We'd be happy to have that conversation with you from there if that's something that you're interested in. Um, so I've talked about a lot of stuff, haven't I? Um, and I'm hoping that you'll see that this is a really powerful tool uh, for for um, for both managing your information, documenting a content portal, a a knowledge base for your JSM projects, um, and a space that's not just for IT. It can be available to other groups in your organization. So we got a few minutes left. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see about any questions that you might have. Is there integration between Confluence on-prem into Teams? Yes, there is. Um, for DC, there are. Uh, if you're in Teams, you can find the Confluence tool. There's also a Jira one. There are also a few on the marketplace that are available, that you might be able to find. We've assisted with some to do that. Um, let me let me just say though, um, um, uh, Atlassian has declared themselves as of last April that they are unabashedly cloud forward, and that almost all other innovation is cloud. And so their 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 goal, like other software solutions, is to move you to a cloud solution. And I understand there are industries now that still can't do that yet, but I will tell you that that's where they're going. So just be aware of that from there. Um, do we have training for data center version? Um, we can offer uh, uh, we don't do it publicly, but we do have by clients who can request a 1 day Confluence boot camp, which kind of looks at everything we've done here, but we can do it in either cloud or in data center. And you not only see the stuff, but you actually get to do the stuff. And it's a 1 day class we can do. We also have something what's called an Atlassian User Academy, which is designed for people that are not going to be, say, project administrators, but they are users in, say, a Jira project. They might also have access to Confluence itself. So we can also offer that particular class. Um, what we've simply found is that the public option um, doesn't meet enough of the specific needs of the attendees, and so but we can certainly provide something like that for you as well. Um, I hope that's answered your questions. Are there others? I didn't see anything in the. Is there anything in the chat? Um, so again, I hope that you found this useful. Um, I know I covered a lot of information in a short amount of time, but I just wanted you to see um, what all this is capable of doing. Uh, and you're also seeing some of the visualization changes that are going on uh, that um, that are and will be rolling out throughout the year. So if your cloud instance doesn't look like mine, it will, and just be aware of that. Um, so that's all the content that I have. Um, unless there are other questions, I guess what I'll say is uh, I hope that this has been informative. This will be recorded, the recording, and it will be placed on our uh, uh, YouTube page. I encourage you to visit our YouTube page because we have lots and lots of content here. We have folks that um, love to uh, learn, and they love to share their content. And then other ones like, so I mentioned that governance one that was last week. If you're interested in hearing more about governance, I would encourage you to see that particular uh, uh, um, video. There's several others that we can talk about here, and then if you've discovered that perhaps you need to know more, you can reach out to us at Valiantys, and we just love having the conversation sometimes. Doesn't necessarily have to be any commitment to engagement, but if we can be of assistance to you just to start that conversation, that's fine. Oftentimes that does lead to potential engagement down the road. So we're open to those kinds of things. Um, But again, I just want to say thank you for giving me your time, and I hope this has been beneficial. Again, my name is Tony Hartsfield. I am a consultant with Valiantys, and I thank you for joining me for this introduction to Confluence webinar. Have a great rest of your day.